One of my favorite sauces is a Béarnaise sauce. I guess I ate this for the first time probably about 25 years ago, and it's only been about the last 5 years that I've started to make it myself. And I guess some of the best that I've ever had was about 4 years ago at a little restaurant in New Orleans called Antoine's, and they had the best Béarnaise sauce. It had a wonderful lemon flavor to it, and it was unlike any that I'd had before. However, my recipe is going to be more traditional, and here are the ingredients if you would like to jot them down. They'll also be below the video if you would like to print them out. Of course, if you are watching this on your mobile device, you can just do a screenshot and it'll make it easy for your trip to the grocery store. So we'll start with some French tarragon. I'm going to get this from the garden, and I just want to touch briefly too on shallots. Shallots, I feel, are a very necessary ingredient in this sauce, and a really nice shallot is called the French gray shallot. I have grown these before, and the nice thing about growing shallots is if you plant one, it's a multiplier, so you'll get about 5 more from each one that you plant. I get them from Territorial Seed Company. For this recipe though, I did not have any, so I purchased one at the grocery store. It was not a French gray shallot, but that'll be fine. Of course, we'll use the French tarragon along with some white peppercorns, some white wine vinegar, and clarified butter. I showed you in an earlier video how to make clarified butter. So I'm going to start by just melting about a tablespoon of the clarified butter and coating my filet mignon with it. I'll just go ahead and put a little bit of coarse salt on each side, and I'll just set this aside. I want to go ahead and preheat my oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit while I prepare my ingredients for the sauce. I want to go ahead and have these ready before I start to cook my filet. So I'll just pull the leaves off of the stem of the tarragon. I'll use most of the leaves in the end of the sauce, but I want to use the stems for the vinegar that I'll show you in just a minute. And so we'll go ahead and separate out our eggs. We just need 2 egg yolks. And for those of you who are kind of nervous about cooking or making salad dressings or sauces with raw egg yolks, I will leave a link below the video so that you can educate yourself on how to use these in the home when you're making different kinds of yolk-based sauces and salad dressings. This was an excellent article that I found online, written by a doctor, and so I hope that you find that helpful. Like I said, I'll leave the link below the video. Okay, so back to the kitchen here. Let's go ahead and get this filet mignon seared. So I've got my cast iron skillet really hot, and I'm going to just sear it on each side for about 1 minute. I want to make sure I get a nice little color going on it. And I like to use tongs when I do this so I don't have to just stand there. The tongs will help it stand upright on its side so that you can get not just the top and the bottom, but you want to make sure you get the sides seared as well, okay? So you can just lock your tongs into place, and that will help hold your steak. Okay, so after you've seared it, go ahead and put it in your oven, and now we'll go ahead and start our vinegar reduction. So I'm putting my white wine vinegar in here along with the shallots and the white peppercorns and the stems and some of the leaves of the tarragon, and we're just going to reduce this down to about 2 tablespoons of vinegar. So I want to go ahead and keep an eye on my filet. I don't want it to overcook, so you are going to have to determine how you like yours cooked. This is still pretty rare at this point, and you can always tell just from touching it in the middle. Okay, now I want to melt my clarified butter, so I want to make sure that I get my butter very hot. Now my filet mignon is ready, and I want to go ahead and strain out the shallots from my vinegar reduction, and it is looking pretty good here. Make sure that you get all of the flavor out of there, so give it a gentle press with your spatula. And now we're going to prepare our sauce. So let's go ahead and add our egg yolks, our vinegar reduction, along with some lemon juice. We'll need a splash of water as well, and let's go ahead and get this mixed up pretty good before we begin to add our butter. Now my butter is piping hot. It's very hot, and that's why I'm using clarified butter. We don't want browned butter, so that's why you need to clarify it, because it can heat to a higher temperature without browning or burning. So this is a very important step of making the sauce. Just make sure your butter is nice and hot and that it's clarified. So we'll just stream it in slowly. You want to do it real slow at first to make sure that it's coming together and becomes nice and creamy, and then you can begin to add it all. So once you've added all of your butter, it should be nice, real nice color here, and we are almost there. Now if you want to keep your sauce nice and warm, and maybe you did it beforehand, you can put it in maybe a steamer basket. If you do that, make sure that you don't tilt your lid, because the water will fall off into the little dish of your sauce and you'll ruin it. So, but that's a good way to keep it warm. However, I like to just make it right when my filet has come out of the oven and it's ready. That's when I like to throw it together. So we'll go ahead and add the rest of our tarragon leaves, and now it's time to eat. So my filet was cooked perfectly, just the way I like it, and I like to just dip it right in that sauce. Of course, you can just put it on your plate, but I find that this works great. That way I can cover my filet mignon pieces up with it. So just to recap, make sure that you use clarified butter so that you can bring it up to a nice high temperature for making it in a blender. Use room temperature egg yolks. I did not say that earlier in the video. Also, add your butter slowly at first to make sure that it emulsifies before you put the rest of it in, okay? So if you enjoyed the video, please let me know by heading down there and giving me a big thumbs up. Also, I am only on Google Plus and YouTube right now, so anytime you're sharing my videos out there on Facebook and all the other social media platforms, it sure helps me out. And thank you so much for watching. Y'all have a beautiful day.